In jail for the rest of his life, the terrorist who murdered Sir David Amess. The seriousness of his crime reflected in Ali's sentence, one of only a handful of terrorists to receive a whole life term. Also tonight.
Evening News with Lucrezia Millarini.
Good evening. The family of the murdered MP, Sir David Amess, said they felt no elation at the whole life sentence received by his killer today. In a moving statement read by police outside the Old Bailey, the family described their heartbreak, saying, "We shall never get over this tragedy." Ali Harbi Ali, the homegrown terrorist who stabbed Sir David to death after tricking his way into one of his constituency surgeries, will never be released from jail after the judge imposed the rare whole life term. He showed little emotion during today's sentencing, apart from to smirk and wink as he was led away. From the Old Bailey, Chloe Keedy reports. Next tonight, and within the last hour, the Conservative peer, Lord Wolfson, has broken ranks and resigned as a Justice Minister over the Partygate scandal. In a letter to Boris Johnson, he said his resignation was prompted by the Prime Minister's own conduct as well as the actual events. It is the first major fallout from the fines issued to Mr Johnson and his Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, for breaking the law during lockdown. Here's our Deputy Political Editor, Anushka Rastana. ITV News understands tonight that the government is planning to set up a new processing centre for migrants who arrive in the UK by illegal routes. It's previously been reported the centre would be in Rwanda, but we've seen an internal document warning this could be subject to a legal challenge. Our political It looks tonight as though the besieged southern Ukrainian port of Mariupol, after weeks of shelling, is down to the bare bones of its resistance against the Russian invaders. The city, with its links to vital sea routes, is a key strategic target for Russian forces, who today claimed that more than 1,000 Ukrainian Marines had surrendered there. Well, Ukraine has not yet directly commented on that claim. From Kyiv, our correspondent Peter Smith reports. In an interview with ITV News tonight, a senior representative of the Russian Parliament, the Duma, dismissed allegations of genocide or war crimes in Ukraine. From Moscow, our correspondent Carl Dinham reports. There is plenty more to come on the ITV Evening News, including... That's all after this short break. We'll see you then. Welcome back. Not for 30 years have households been hit by prices rising as sharply as they are today. The rate of inflation has soared to 7%, the highest since March 1992, threatening to make even the most basic weekly shop into a real financial headache for many families. And with the looming energy price hike just around the corner, things could get even worse. Our social affairs correspondent Sarah Corker reports. Police revealed today that a 3-year-old girl and a boy of 5 who were caught up in a house fire in Preston have died in hospital. They and their mother were rescued from the flames on Friday, but the 2 children died yesterday. Hannah Miller is in Preston. Hannah, what more can you tell us about this really sad case? Hopes of P&O's cross-channel services resuming in time for Easter have been dealt a blow after one of its vessels was detained. Wayne Couzens, the former police officer who raped and murdered Sarah Everard after abducting her off the street, appeared in court again today via video link, charged with indecent exposure. He chose to have a trial by jury. Callum Watkinson, you're watching the ITV Evening News. Here's still what's to come before Emmerdale. But first, we heard earlier in the programme how the looming energy price hike is set to combine with the UK's spiralling inflation to make the cost of living crisis even worse than it is now. Well, it may not be an instant solution, but we've learned that more and more community groups are taking matters into their own hands to produce their own energy. We spoke to one group of people who have clubbed together to put up their own wind turbine. But there are some claims tonight that such groups are getting little government support with the removal of a vital subsidy. Chris Choi reports on the problems of trying to launch people power. Also, Chris, people power. I mean, these schemes sound like they could save people a lot of money, but just how realistic for communities to do this?
Sadly, now and indeed at any time. But things could change, and they could change.
Interesting. Chris, thank you. Now let's get an update on what's making the news tonight. The libel trial in the United States, in which Johnny Depp is suing his former wife Amber Heard for defamation over allegations of domestic abuse, has entered day 2. Jurors at the court in Virginia heard from a childhood friend of the Hollywood megastar who had been helped by him. Geraint Vincent reports. Health officials say they are now investigating a total of 74 cases of hepatitis among children across the UK. The manager of Northern Ireland's women's football team has been forced to back down and apologise after calling female players more emotional than men. Kenny Shields faced a barrage of criticism after saying this made them liable to concede goals, and after his side's 5-0 defeat in a match against England last night. Sangeeta Lal reports. The Hollywood star Sienna Miller has been speaking to ITV News about a new drama she's starring in about the wife of a politician who has cheated on her. She said being reminded of situations when she knew she would be in the glare of publicity the following day was tough, but in the end useful to her role. Our entertainment reporter Rishi Davda reports. On News at 10 tonight, Nina sits down with the singer Self-Esteem. After 2 successful albums, she's turned her hand to writing for the West End stage and for another woman with an out-there image, the Killing Eve star Jodie Comer. You're watching the ITV Evening News. Still to come before Emmerdale. Join me and Alex for that after the break. Welcome back. Easter weekend is just around the corner, and the good news is that temperatures are set to rise across much of the country. But there is a catch. Talk of a hay fever bomb from high pollen levels. Well, Alex is here. And Alex, things finally starting to warm up?
Yeah, I think hay pollen levels are rising, and we're going to take a look. The weather is looking fairly decent for this Easter weekend, but it is tree pollen, which...
So, Alex, warmer temperatures, but also the effects of that pollen.
Yeah.
Alex, thank you. Well, finally, the distinctive sound of Spitfire engines flying sorties over southern England became one of the most abiding symbols of the British wartime spirit during the Second World War. They played a vital role in the Battle of Britain. Well, now a whole squadron of them have undergone a major restoration. Martin Stew watched the Spitfire take to the skies again over Kent. Marvellous. That is it for now. Raggy will be here with News at 10, but from all of us on the Evening News team, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.